Assalamualaikum and a very good day to our beloved lecturer, Dr. Nur Ashikin and my fellow friends. Today, we will be sharing about Saudi Arabia travel behavior. Before we start our presentation, let me introduce my fellow presenter. Well, the first one is me, Nur Arisa binti Naksabandi. Next is Anis Aina. The third one is Nurin Adina. And lastly, Aida Natasha. Without further ado, let me start the presentation. Now, I will share about the socio-cultural background of Saudi Arabia. Firstly, Islamic culture. Saudi Arabian Islamic culture values humility in clothing. Female travelers are frequently required to wear abayas, which are loose-fitting robes that cover the body, as well as a hijab to cover their hair. Men are also encouraged to dress modestly with no exposing apparel. When visiting public places, tourists are recommended to observe and comply with certain dress requirements. Secondly, Saudi Arabia is the home of Islam's two holiest sites, Mecca and Medina. Prayers, fasting during Ramadan, and visiting mosques are all part of the religious practices of both inhabitants and visitors. Tourists are required to observe and obey the norms related with these practices, such as keeping holy places sacred and respecting prayer hours. Lastly, religious tourism. Millions of Muslims from all over the world go to perform the yearly Haji pilgrimage and the year-round Umrah pilgrimage. Pilgrims follow unique rituals and traditions throughout their stay, which has a huge impact on travel behavior. Now, moving on to the motivation of travel. According to the researchers, visitors from Arabian Gulf, which are the United Emirates, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, shows that most Arab tourists travel with their families or in a group, whether this group consists of friends, relatives or work colleagues. Moreover, visiting entertainment places and shopping is one of the important factors that motivated and influenced Arab tourists to travel, because Malaysia is cheap compared to Arab countries, as Malaysia offers a wide range of shopping opportunities from high-end luxury brands to local markets. The relatively lower cost of goods and services in Malaysia compared to Arab countries attracts Saudi Arabian tourists who can find better value for their money. Next, the reason why Malaysia has become a destination of choice for Arabs is because they are allowed to enter Malaysia without a visa. Malaysia permits citizens from Arab countries to visit the country without a visa. This eases travel for Saudi visitors by eliminating the need for long visa application process and lowering travel-related fees and difficulties. Next, choice of destination. Leisure tourism is the most common among Middle East tourists because the main purpose of the holiday is entertainment and enjoyment, where they want to relax and enjoy the cool mountain air and natural scenery. Based on the interview conducted by Nur Arlene Khan, they said that the Arab has limited greenery and natural landscapes. The Arabian tourists also added that the best destination to visit in Malaysia are Cameron Highlands for its beautiful nature. Many Arabs also like to go to the Perhentian Island and Redang Island for their clear water, as many seas in the Arab world are polluted. Besides that, Arab tourists are drawn to cities such as Melaka and Penang for their multiculturalism. Thus, Malaysia draws Saudi Arabian leisure travelers due to its natural landscape, clean beaches, diverse cities and environmental conscience.
We are moving on to their demographic pattern. The majority of Arab tourists who come to Malaysia are those who are from married families, newlywed couples who are going to Malaysia for their honeymoon, and are mostly young or middle-aged and belong to a high disposable income. The majority of outbound travel is from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. This mainly due to the Muslim-friendly facilities that are available to them. The age and gender distribution of tourists is influenced by the culture and religious factors, as well as the type of tourism activity. For example, religious tourism often sees a higher number of male visitors due to restriction on women's travel. Main purpose of Saudi Arabia come to Malaysia. According to the key informants of the Saudi Arabian Embassy, the majority of Arabs travel to Malaysia for vacation. They are mostly engaged in exploring Malaysian cuisine, sightseeing activities and visiting interesting places. He mentioned that the Arab were aware of Malaysia's stunning natural surroundings and landscape. According to the Malaysian ambassador Sheikh Omar Al-Sagaf, they provide both beautiful scenery and medical tourism. He claimed that Malaysia is one of the most well-liked travel destinations for Saudi citizens in terms of medical and health tourism, due to the fact that Malaysia and the Arab countries practice the same faith. For example, both religions adopt halal paradise.
Moving on to the next point, which is expenditure pattern. According to Nur Arlin Khan 2019, stated that the biggest spenders in Malaysia are tourists from Saudi Arabia, followed by UAE, Oman, Iran and Kuwait. Tourists from Arab Saudi usually does not care about money and expenses when it comes to enjoyment and quality of the service. Saudi Arabia usually famous of openness and generosity, which refers to their culture and high expenditure behavior. However, this statement does not indicate their support for any unfair actions. Studies from Taufik Hidayat says that Saudi Arabian tourists express their dissatisfaction with the varying prices they encounter compared to tourists from other countries.
For activities engagement, Saudi Arabian visit to Malaysia engage in a variety of activities, both cultural and recreational. Saudi Arabian visitors often indulge in shopping in Malaysia, particularly in popular shopping destinations like Kuala Lumpur, Penang and Johor Bahru. In addition, Malaysia is a popular destination for medical tourism, and Saudi Arabians often visit the country for medical treatments, including healthcare checkups, cosmetic procedures, and specialized medical care. Next, mode of transportation. When Saudi Arabians visit Malaysia, they have several options for transportation depending on their preferences and budget. Rented transport is the most popular mode of transportation among the Arab tourists in Kuala Lumpur. Moreover, renting a car can provide flexibility and convenience, allowing them to explore various destinations at their own pace. Choice of accommodation. Saudi Arabian visitors to Malaysia have diverse preferences when it comes to accommodation. The Middle East tourists demand a very high level of service in their travel experiences. They prefer 5-star hotels and high-quality service apartments, even amongst the young people. They love to stay in suites or interconnecting rooms which allow convenient access to their younger family members. The most popular accommodations are located in the city centre.
In 2017, 10.800 nights were recorded for Saudi Arabia. This did not change from the previous year's 10.800 night total, and the average length of the stay in Saudi Arabia was 10.1000 nights, and 12.800 night was the highest recorded night in the data, while 8.800 night was the lowest recorded night in 2013. Saudi Arabia data is still active in Data Global Database and is supplied by Tourism Malaysia and the average length of stay in Malaysia.
Okay, now moving on to the choice of media or source of information. According to studies in 2016, the internet penetration rate among Saudi nationals is estimated around 93%. Based on evidence, it shows that net-worthy social media platforms are generated attention among Saudi Arabian users. YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram were listed as popular alternatives. Moving on to current challenges or issues faced by stakeholders in handling tourist behavior. The first one is cultural sensitivity and preferences. Saudis have distinct cultural norms and practices, and it is crucial for service providers to understand and respect these cultural sensitivities. For example, providing separate facilities for male and female travelers, offering halal food options, and ensuring privacy and modesty in accommodation are essential considerations. The second one is language barriers. Language can be a significant barrier for stakeholders when dealing with Saudi Arabian tourists, as English is not the first language for many Saudi travelers, and this can create challenges in communication and providing effective customer service. The last one is seasonality and peak demand. Another challenge faced by stakeholders is the seasonality of Saudi Arabian tourism and the resulting peak demand during certain periods. With a high demand during peak periods, stakeholders need to ensure that they have sufficient inventory to accommodate tourists. However, it can be challenging to maintain a balance between supply and demand, especially during popular holiday seasons.
For the recommendation for the first issue is have a cultural sensitivity training to address the challenge of catering to the specific cultural sensitivities and preferences of Saudi Arabian tourists. Stakeholders such as travel agency, hotels and airlines can consider providing cultural sensitivity training to staff members, especially those who directly interact with Saudi Arabian tourists. Next, to overcome language barriers when dealing with Saudi Arabian tourists, stakeholders can consider hiring staff members who can communicate in both English and Arabic, as this will greatly facilitate communication with Saudi Arabian tourists. Lastly, implement seasonal pricing and incentive. Implement dynamic pricing strategies to encourage visitors to travel during off-peak periods. Offer discounted rates, package deals, or exclusive incentive to attract tourists during slower seasons.
In conclusion, Saudi Arabia's travel behavior in Malaysia showcases a strong and growing connection between the two nations. Malaysia destinations has become increasingly popular among Saudi travelers, driven by factors such as cultural affinity, diverse attractions, and convenient travel options. Malaysia offers a unique blend of modernity and traditional charm, with attractions ranging from bustling cities to pristine beaches, lush rainforests, and cultural heritage sites. These diverse offerings appeal to Saudi Arabian travelers seeking a balance between leisure, adventure, and cultural exploration. That is all from us. Thank you.